Hi guys, you're welcome back to my channel. This is Luchi's Design. If you are new to my channel, you're welcome. Please subscribe, like and share my video. And if you're a returning subscriber, thanks for stopping by. In today's video, you'll be learning how to make this gown from the start to the finish. Please make sure you don't skip any part because each part contains a vital information that will change your sewing game. So this is the fabric I'll be using for this tutorial. It's a non-stretchy thick crepe. I used 2 yards for this dress. You can also use stretchy crepe or any other thick fabric of your choice. I'll be drafting on this pattern paper so that you can see it clearly. After drafting, I will transfer it to my fabric and cut it out. First thing I will do is to insert my vertical measurement. To get my chest depth, I normally divide my bust by 6 and add extra 1.5 inches. This calculation is standard and it works for different body sizes. Because I'm making a sleeveless dress, I won't be marking the exact measurement I got. I will be minusing 1 inch so that my armhole area will not be too open. So I will mark my 7 inches here. From my shoulder to my waistline, I have 17 inches. I will mark it here. From my shoulder to my hip, I have 26 inches. From my shoulder to my knee length, I have 34 inches. And the full length of the gown is 42 inches. I'll add 1 inch for hemming allowance. I will go ahead to rule out my lines. After that, I will start inserting my horizontal measurement. My shoulder width is 16 inches. If I divide it by 2, I have 8 inches. I'll be minusing 1 inch. This is because it's a sleeveless gown and because of the cape. That's what you will do. I'll place the measurement here. I will also place the measurement on my chest line, the way you see me doing. And I will connect the 2 points with a straight line. After that, I will be dividing my round bust by 4. Whatever I got, I will be placing it on this my chest line. I have 10.5 inches. I will add 1 inch for sewing allowance. Please, if you are using a stretchy fabric, do not add any sewing allowance. If you add sewing allowance, the dress won't be fitted. So I will come down by 1 inch to mark my shoulder slope. I'll measure 4 inches for my neck width. So I will connect my shoulder slope to my neck width. After that, I will divide what I have here by 2. I'll get the midpoint. I'll come in by 0.75. So to enable me to draw my armhole, just pay close attention to what I'm doing. You'll get it right. So I will now curve my armhole the way you see me doing. Alright, the next thing I will do now is that I will divide my round waist by 4. So whatever I got, I will insert it on my waistline. I have 10 inches. I added 1 inch for sewing allowance. I will do the same thing on my hip. I'll add my sewing allowance. To get my round knee, I will be deducting 8 inches from my hip measurement. If I minus 8 inches, I have 40 inches left. So 40 inches is my round nail. I will divide it by 4 and add my sewing allowance. I will also place my round nail on the hemline. If you want your dress to be fitted around the knee area, that's the calculation you will use. So I'm done connecting my lines. This is what I have when I was done. So the next thing now is to mark my neck depth. I use 5 inches for my neck depth. On this 5 inches, I will measure 1.25. If I unfold it, I'll have 2.5. So I will mark it here and I will connect it this way. Just watch what I'm doing. The line is not straight. I will connect it. Just place your French curve the way you see me doing and connect it. That's all for that. Can you see what I have? After that, I will add sewing allowance. I'll be adding sewing allowance on the shoulder, on the armhole and round the neck. So I will write it so that I won't forget. I'm done with my front parts. Please note that when we are transferring to the fabric, our fabric will be on fold. So I will cut it off now, the way you see me doing. After cutting the front part, I will bring a plain paper for the back part. The length is also 43 inches. From the folded edge, I mark 1.5 inches. This is for my zipper allowance. To save my time, I place my front part on it just to trace the back part out. But I will be making some alteration on the armhole, the shoulder and the neck line. From my front armhole on that midpoint, I will come out by ½ inch. This is to give it a fitted curve around the armhole area. I will use my free hand now to curve it the way you see me doing. As we all know that front armhole is always deeper than the back armhole. So it's very necessary you come out by ½ inch on the back armhole. After that, I will also come out by ½ inch on the shoulder. I will slant it back to my neck width. After that, I will cut out the back part the way you see me doing. So before I show you how I cut the back neckline, I'll be removing the zipper bulge on the waistline so that the zip can relax very well and it will be very fitted on the back. So on my waistline, I will measure 0.75 and I will slant it up to my chest line and down to my hip line. After that, I will trim it off. So the next thing I will do now is to show you how I cut my slit opening. So I will measure from the down to 9 inches. That's how open I want my slit to be. So from that line, I will now trace it off the way you see me doing. I'll leave ½ inch before the line. That's what I will use to fold it in. Alright. So the next thing now is to cut my neck depth. So I'll measure from the shoulder to 10 inches. That's how deep I want the neck depth to be. You can go deeper, like 12 inches. That's totally up to you. So I will draw my V-neck line the way you see me doing. The V is curved, it's not straight. After marking my neckline, I will go ahead and cut it off. I will fold in my zipper allowance so that I can trim that part off. After cutting it off, the next thing I will do now is to work on the cape part. To cut the cape, I will start with the front part and you need a fresh paper. The width of the paper is the half of my round bust and I folded it into two. I've gone ahead to place my shoulder width. I have 7 inches, the same way I marked it on the gown part. I measured down my chest depth, the same thing I did on the gown part, and I mark my half length, which is 17. So I'll also mark 4 inches for my neck width. I'll come down by 1 inch for my shoulder slope. I've connected it. I will place quarter of my round bust on the chest line and quarter of my round waist on the half length, and I will connect it. I will divide my chest line by 2. I'll get the midpoint. I'll come in by 0.75, the same way I did on the front part. I've already connected it. For my neck width, I will also mark 5 inches and I will mark 1.25, the same thing I did on the gown part. So I will now connect it this way. Please pay very close attention on this part. I promise to break it down. Even as a beginner, you will understand it very well. Please, you will use your marker to highlight it very well so that if you open your pattern, it will be visible on the other side. Or if you have tracing wheel, you can trace it so that the marking will show on the other parts. I will unfold it now. Okay, I can see the markings very well. It's very visible. I will now mark it out the way you see me doing. This is what you will have when you are done. The first thing I will do now is to determine the length of my cape. For me, I measure from my shoulder to 12 inches. I will rule the line out now. On this line, I will come in by 5.5 inches. I will mark it. On the other side, I will also come in by 5.5 inches. This is breaking point for the cape. So on the shoulder now, I will come out by 2.5 inches. You can use 3 inches if you want, but I want to use 2.5. I will root down my shoulder slope the way you see me doing. After that, I will also do the same thing on this shoulder. I will measure 2.5 inches and I will roll it down. Alright, so from the 2.5 inches I came out on my shoulder, I will slant it to meet the 5.5 inches. I'll also do the same thing on this side. To give the cape that curve, I will come down by 1.5 inches from my neck depth. I will mark it this way and I will connect it. Just watch what I'm doing. This is not hard. Just mark it. I'll follow this side also to connect it. Can you see what we have? This is very simple. Okay, that's all. So you can add your sewing allowance here if you want, or when you place it on your fabric you can add it, but I think I will be adding my sewing allowance on the front part. So I will just mark ½ inch round this way. I'll also mark on the both side. Just mark your sewing allowance round. Okay, I will also add on my neckline so that I won't forget. Please make sure you subscribe to my channel if you find my video helpful. Also turn on your notification bell for more videos. Thank you. For the back part, I've placed all my necessary measurements and also added my zipper allowance. This is my 1.5 inch zipper allowance. Can you see what I have here? So I will fold in my zipper allowance now. The first thing I will do now is to mark 10 inches for my neck depth. The same thing I mark on the gown part for the back. Please, that's the same thing you will mark for the cape. So I will curve my V neckline this way. I will cut it out now. After cutting it out, I will unfold it. This is what I have. You can trim this part off. I will come down by 1 inch for my shoulder slope. The marker line is still showing, so I will follow the line now and mark it down. Okay, so the next thing I will do now is to measure 2.5 inches also for the back cape. I will also do the same thing on this side. I use the length of 18 inches for the back cape. If I measure it, I have 18 inches here. So on that 18 inches, I will come in by 6.5. On this other side, I will also come in by 6.5. From my neck depth, I will come down by 1 inch. Just watch closely how I'm going to slant it. Alright. Can you see what I'm doing? I think I will be making it 7 inches instead of 6.5. I will slant it back this way. I will also measure 7 inches on this other part. Just follow what I'm doing, you will get it right. Slant it. Can you see what we have? So I will now connect it this way. You can study the diagram. This is very simple. It's not hard at all. This is what I have. Okay, I'll be cutting it out now for better understanding. I've slashed my zipper allowance open. This is what you will have when you are done. For this back, I will be adding my sewing allowance when I place it on my fabric. So you can use your masking tape and join the two shoulders. If you don't want it to have joining on the shoulder, you can tape it down and cut it straight. This method is also very good. I won't be doing that. On my back part, I will write add sewing allowance so that I won't forget. Okay, let me show you what I mean. You use your masking tape and tape down the two shoulders so that when you are placing it on your fabric, you cut it straight. We have come to the end of the cutting part. I really appreciate you for watching up to this length. The next thing is to join all the pieces together. I've placed my pattern on the fabric and I've cut it out. I added my sewing allowance on the armhole area, on the shoulder and round the neckline. Please note that I put my fabric on fold before placing my pattern. For my back, I added my sewing allowance on the neck, on the armhole, shoulder and the zipper allowance side. For my cape, I cut two pieces because I'll be using one to turn the neckline. I'll be using the same material to turn the neckline. So I also do the same thing on the back part. I cut 4 for the back. For this down part, you cut it as square. If you cut it like V, you will run shortage of fabric. So if I take ½ inch on the both sides to join it, I won't run shortage of fabric. I added my sewing allowance on the back part. Can you see the back shoulder and the front shoulder is aligning? After that, the next thing I did is that I ironed my hairstay on the fabric I cut out for my cape. I ironed my thick hairstay just to give it a little weight. You iron it on your main fabric and on the one that you use to turn your neckline. I also have this crinoline that I'll use to give the cape more structure. So I'll show you how to place it when I'm sewing it. Please, I'm begging you to subscribe to my channel, like and share my video. God bless you. Can you see what I have here? This is for my back. So the next thing now is to join the front and back gown together. I'll place one part of my back on the front part. I'll also do the same thing for this side. I will use the 1 inch I added for my sewing allowance to close the two sides. I'll do it and come back and show you. I've done it already. So this is what I have. So I use my hot iron to fold my zipper allowance. So I will measure down where my zipper will stop, and I will go to my machine now and attach it. Also join my two shoulders. I'll make a detailed tutorial on how to fix an invisible zipper. So this is what I have. I'll use my hemming gun to fold my slit so that I will achieve a neat finishing. This is my cape. I will go to my machine and join the two shoulder for the main fabric. I'll also do the same thing for the one that I'll use to turn the neckline. So I've done it already. See what I have. I open press it and iron it very well. So you can confirm what you have on your neckline for the main dress. I have 18 inches. I also confirm what I have on my cape. I also have 18 inches. It's very accurate. To sew the cape, I will match the two shoulder for the lining and the main fabric together. I use my pin to secure it. Just use your pin and pin it round so that it doesn't shift when you are sewing it round. For the sake of beginners watching me, I'll first of all sew my cape before attaching the crinoline so that you understand how to do it. I've sewn it. I make sure I pin the strategic point before sewing. So I will notch this curve part so that it will lay flat when I turn it. Can you see? I've sewn this part also. To attach the crinoline, I will first of all use my masking tape to cover the starting point. After that, I will come down by 4 inches from the pointy edge, and I will place the crinoline on this stitch I used to close the cape. I'll use a tiny stitch to hold it down. Please, when you are sewing it, don't pull the crinoline, don't stretch it, just place it and stitch it. I've done that already. Can you see what I have? If you stretch it while you sew, it will have a wavy effect. I place my crinoline this way when I don't want to top stitch on the lining. It will give me a very neat finishing when I turn it inside out. So I will turn it inside out now for you to see the outcome. Even without top stitching it, it will look very neat. Can you see? Can you see what I have? All you need to do is just to iron it very well. So I will show you the technique I use to iron it. Just use your scissors to push the pointy parts out. Push it out. You can trim the excess sewing allowance. Trim it off so that
everything will come out very neat. Let me show you what I have now. Can you see it? Before I iron it, I will insert my hemming gum under the crinoline so that if I iron it, it will stick together and the outcome will look very nice. So just put it inside and use your hot iron to iron it down. Open it this way, iron it very well. So I've stitched this neck part down. So the next thing now is to attach it on the main dress. I will open up my zip. Before I attach the cape, I will first of all use my bias to turn the armhole. So I will fold the middle of the front part and I will notch the center. I will also notch the center of the cape. So I will place the cape right side facing the wrong side of the main dress. This is the wrong side of the main dress. I'll place it together. I'll use my pin to secure it. Can you see what I have? It's equal and it aligned very well. I'll use my pin to pin it down. I'll make sure that the shoulder line of the cape is matching the shoulder line of the main dress, and I will pin it up to the zipper side. Can you see? It's equal. I'll do the same thing on the other side. After that, I will go to my sewing machine and stitch it down. I've stitched it down. I will trim off the excess zipper that I have here and this excess allowance I have here. I will notch these two corners. Just notch it round and trim up the excess sewing allowance. Can you see what I'm doing? After that, I will turn it inside out. Now just carefully push it out. After pushing it out, you iron it very well. I'll do that off camera. I'll show you the finished look. I really appreciate for watching up to this length. Please don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Can you see what I have here? Very neat. Thanks for watching. God bless you.